Well, hello. Well, this is, I believe, episode 4 of this particular love framework. And yeah, I mean, how have you found it so far, Claudette? Actually, I don't normally ask that question, but it's
Um, Very interesting. Very,
yeah.
very interesting. It's great. It's good to look at because every time people think about love, right? People do always think romantic relationships. They
Mm,
don't think about love in any other way. That's the first thing you think of. Oh, you know, but it's good to look at love in the wider context.
mm.
But from the wider context, you're able to scrutinize the romantic side of the love as well, if you see what I mean.
And I see what you mean completely.
So
Um,
I find it quite fascinating, and there's times when I've wanted to burst out laughing, right? But I haven't been able. I have to do that in the privacy when I look back at the sessions, or
yeah.
I look back at my notes because I tend to make a lot of notes
Hmm.
as I go along, and
Yeah,
that's
that's a beautiful reflection actually. And that's kind of what I was trying to invoke in people when I used the word love, because like you
yeah,
rightly say, people associate. So if you go to a place of work, people don't normally think of love. You go to other kind of, because we've been sold that romantic, Hollywoody kind of,
yeah,
that's kind of the most predominant way in which love has been presented. And even some of the features and the way it's meant to show up has been framed by that as well. So you're right. It is good to explore it from a wider perspective. And it's interesting what you said there about once you go wide, actually now you can come back in and look at different narrow elements of it, but you're holding
yeah,
that wider context.
yeah. And I think it's a bit like myth busting.
I like that. I like that.
It's myth
Um,
busting
I like that.
because it shatters the fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
shatters a lot of concept that we've all been fed in
yeah,
some shape or form.
I
And
love
we're still being fed that through media, through
yeah.
people's lives and things like that. And sometimes it can make you feel if you ain't doing this or you ain't got that or blah blah blah, you love just passed you by, or you don't know, you have no experience of love.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. That's
Make
such an
you
interesting reflection.
Yeah, it makes you very tunnel vision.
Yeah, and I love what you say there about myth busted, because again, part of my work as a coach is I help people see a lot of those myths that our minds are making up. Yes, they're being fed, and then they make these things up. But the thing that we don't often see is when we don't have that space between us and our minds, we believe anything our mind believes must be true. But actually,
Yes.
when we're able to step back and see, okay, what are the belief systems being held here? Then we can begin to see, oh, actually, that's not serving me, or actually,
Yeah.
I've got other evidence that contradicts that. It's not, it's not really that. So that is such a beautiful thing. And in fact, that almost informs the first one I'm going to put in the chat actually, um, because I think it speaks directly to that. Let me just stick that in once I get my chat to load up. All right, this one is called False Prophecy. Eyes looking at me, minds thinking of me, looking into my future. Speak over me. This is all you can be. Here lies the mystery. When did the universe abdicate my destiny to their world filter, render me powerless in my own story? Answer so simple when I believe their fallacy. We're going to read that again. False prophecy. Eyes looking at me, minds thinking of me, looking into my future. Speak over me, this is all you can be. Here lies the mystery. When did the universe abdicate my destiny to their world filter, rendering me powerless in my own story? Answer so simple when I believe their fallacy.
Hmm.
What are you, 'hearing? 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 'Hea
I hear first I the word control and lack of control keeps coming up. It's almost like we believe that we sometimes we don't have no effect about how we show up. That is always coming from the outside, or and it's been done to us rather than us being involved and engaging and experiencing. When really we have more power than we think. It's just that we don't know how to use the power.
I hear you. I hear you. No, there's a lot to what you've just said there.
But I think, but also it's when it goes like eyes looking at me, minds thinking of me, looking into my future, speaking over me. It sounds like something that's been done to you
Yeah.
rather than you being involved in it.
Yeah.
So is that to do with um outside influences?
It feels like it is. It definitely feels like that.
What might it might not be outside influence, it might just be the mind that's behaving like an outside influence.
Oh, Claudette, you are so precious.
So it could be the mind that's
Oh,
behaving like an outside influence.
you are so precious. You have just
So
broken.
we go looking,
Yeah.
we go chasing after that outside influence when really and truly it's within us.
That is, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that's it. That is it. It's that the narrative that the mind sells us is, oh, all these people are thinking of me this way. How it comes to know what other people are thinking without them saying it is a different matter. Interpreting their looks, their ways, or whatever, and it projects outward and then back inward. So it goes, oh, you can't do that because people will think you're this, or people are looking at you and they probably think you're that, and all that. The diagram and the schema for all that is more our own beliefs about ourselves that's been projected outwards and then being brought back in again and then begins to control us. So you're right. It's if someone actually did say those things to you, and I'm not saying that can't happen, again, the conversation is still valid. Okay, that's their opinion. That's what they think, that's what they feel. Do you believe that? And are you going to live by that? It's still, or if it is your mind doing it and you just projected it, thinking that's what people think about you because that's what deeply you think about yourself internally, then the conversation is still the same. Do you believe that? And is it serving you? Is another lovely question I love asking when we come to coaching elements. If it's not serving you, then you might want to consider whether you're going to be invested in it.
Mm.
What else are you hearing or seeing based on what I've just expanded?
I like the bit when it goes, "Here lies the mystery. When did the universe abdicate my destiny to
Yeah,
their world filter?"
it's interesting, isn't it? So what are you seeing there? What are you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know what it is I want to say, but I haven't got the words for a change.
Oh dear. No, that's okay. Yeah. So I suppose that, and that's the bit we've been talking about, is that we actually are the ones who abdicate our destinies,
Yeah.
right? When we believe those things, we're the ones doing the abdicating, right? And the question really is being asked of you, okay, why would you live your life by what someone else thinks you should do or how someone else thinks you should live? Because at the end of the day, when you look at the last two lines, the answer is so simple. When I believe. So I is the key word. If I choose to believe it, then I'm abdicating my destiny. And again, as we've mentioned, this world filter could be a projected world filter. If nobody's actually said anything and we're just imagining that's what they're thinking, that must be our filter that we're applying onto someone else and projecting outwards and then implying back inside. Does that help? Does that?
Hmm.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one is called egocentric. I am the reason all things exist, the root of every hurt, the cause of every reaction, the feature of every failure, the source of all success, the center of the universe. It all depends on me. What a weight to carry. I'm going to read that again. Egocentric. I am the reason all things exist, the root of every hurt, the cause of every reaction, the feature of every failure, the source of all success, the center of the universe. It all depends on me. What a weight to carry.
Mm. What a weight indeed. What a burden. Imagine carrying that every moment of the day.
Well, you asked the question, but aren't we in many cases? I mean, do you identify
Yeah.
with any of that?
Well, I suppose there are some people who take everything upon themselves. And
Hmm.
that to me that spells death.
Say more.
It just spells death. But it spells, these people who think, you know, Bob Marley says no man is an island, but in this case,
Hmm.
this person thinks they're an island.
Hmm.
And yeah, when things are going good, they're the sole reason why it's going good. But
Mm-hmm.
when it's going bad, they also internalize that as their fault. So then, therefore, what happens now? You got a conflict. You got like a war going on
Hmm.
between the self. I don't know if it's between the conscious and the subconscious. I don't know. Conscious. I don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I love the
It
word.
is,
Yeah, I love the word you use there, internalize. That's a key word in this whole discourse.
but it's very much an internal battle. Internal. Well, it is a battle. If you have to wake up and pick up that and carry that every single day, and you can't put it down, it is a battle. It
Yeah.
must be because where can you find happiness and love in that?
No, I hear you. And that's why I'm putting it on the table. If you're in a relationship and that's your default mode, then you can see where there might be.
Oh yes, I mean, if you was in a relationship with somebody and this was your default mode, God help the other person you're with, isn't it? You're lucky to
So
be
what
with
do you think is
anybody
going to
else.
happen? What do you think is going to happen when you say God help the person you're with?
Well, there's no way that a healthy, thriving relationship could be sustained in the first place. Never mind the connection made.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, even if you look at it from a bandwidth point of view, if your mental bandwidth is used up with all this, you're not available for much else, really. That's one angle.
Yes.
Anything else you're saying there?
The word selfishness screams at is screaming at me.
Okay.
We know when they say me, myself, and I.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are people who live in that me, myself, and I bubble.
I hear
But
you.
one day that bubble will burst.
Mm.
Where does it leave that person?
Yeah, no, I hear that question. And if we were to go by what you said earlier, then if it bursts, then maybe the other person goes, there's no space here for me in this relationship. There's no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I want to bring
It's a
yeah,
tricky one.
it is tricky, yeah. And it's got many angles actually. It looks simple, but it's got many
Yeah.
angles.
Can you talk about the ego? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the
The
bit I was
ego,
about to go into, the ego.
yeah. The ego could take you down so many paths
Yeah.
where you
Well,
don't even realize where you're going until,
yeah. I don't
you know what I
realize it's
mean?
even the ego that's doing it.
Yeah, you don't realize that what the ego is up to.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, I suppose it's a bit like pride can take you down certain paths that, you're doing, you wonder, how did I get here?
No, I hear that.
And you don't realize it's pride that's got you there.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on which lines you look at, actually, you can
So
see.
what were you thinking when you wrote this one?
Well, I'm not going there yet. But let's look at the ego aspect of it, right? And in a way that starts to answer the question, really, in a way. So I'm trying to bring empathy to people who show up the way you just described and very often are judged very negatively because of the impact that other people might have in how they experience them. But actually, what might be going on here is that they're just not aware people, right? The work we're doing in this space, we're reflecting so we can be more self-aware, so we can see what's going on. And one of the biggest element of this is knowing that you're not your mind. Now, here's the thing. You see, the mind is wired as a human being, your mind is wired to keep you safe, right? When your mind believes you are not safe, then all the focus of the mind is to keep you safe. So by virtue of that, it is an egocentric process because it's saying until you are safe, nothing else matters, right? So then it begins to create a worldview that revolves around your safety. And because your bandwidth is being used up around how to preserve you, there's not
Yeah,
much bandwidth to consider other people, how that impact might be, what's really true about the danger I'm being protected from, blah, blah, blah. So one of the key elements of my work as a coach and why really any client I work at make sure that's something we look at is this idea of you are not your mind, so that you can observe your mind and maybe detect that, oh, wait a minute, this success that I'm happy about, where did all of it come from? Was it all me? Were the other people involved? Or this failure that has happened, am I really all responsible for all of it? Were there
yeah,
things that were not in my control? Do you see my thing? The
yeah,
hurt that's okay. Where did it come from? Is it all down to me? What has happened to me? What are the environment that people created for me that meant I was more sensitive to this than other things? So it's kind of like lots of layers that you could be caught up in.
yeah,
Really, the mind, when it goes into save me mode, focuses only on what it's trying to save. And it creates that self-centered, just looking out for myself. Until you feel safe, it is rare that you have time and bandwidth to really consider other people. Which is why if you're in a relationship that doesn't feel safe, it's hard. Not because the relationship is not safe, it just needs to be considered not safe for that to be the way you show up in it. Does that help?
yeah. Yeah, it does.
So yes, to answer your question, this all came from the internal exploration of, oh, this is how I'm feeling, or this is how this is come, this is what my mind is making up about this. Is it really true? Is it true that I'm the reason that all things exist? Is it true that I'm the root of every hurt? Is it true that I'm the cause of every reaction? Is it true that I'm the feature of every failure? Is it true that I'm the source of all success? Is it true that I'm the center of the universe? Because if I consider that to be true, and it all depends on me, can I really carry that weight? And if I'm trying to carry that weight, what's that
Yeah.
doing to me?
So in other words, it's like, is it true?
Yeah. It's to give us it's not for us to judge other people and say, oh, that's what that person is doing. That's why that person, it's for us to look at ourselves and go, okay, am I beginning to believe any of these things? Are they really true? Because when you start feeling the weight, the key is the weight, right? When you start
Yeah.
feeling under the weight, that is your stimulus, that's your trigger to go back and ask the questions. Oh, I'm feeling like a lot is on my shoulders all of a sudden. How much of this is true? And then you start working your way up to work out, okay, what is it that's being believed here that's making me feel all this weight? And is it true?
Yeah.
And do I need to be carrying it on my own? Or is it really even me down to me? Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say on that before we move on?
I don't think so. Let me see if I see anything else.
Okay. I'm gonna stick the next one in there. This one is called Many Invitations. Many invitations I bluntly refuse. Don't judge me as rude or take me as a party prude. Some parties are just not my kind of groove. The chance to reminisce about all I missed don't fill me with cause for bliss, nor do I ponder at length all that could have been, not my idea of a fondue. I have had my fill of self-induced suffering, entertaining my mind with all that's remiss. From this there is one sure guarantee. I'll leave gloomier than when I went in. A godly pass on that level of self-brutality, politely saying thank you while giving this one a miss. I'll happily settle for some peace. No FOMO from me. Been there, done that. The excitement's long gone. I'm good where I'm stood, living life with joy infused. So I'm going to read that again. Many invitations. Many invitations I bluntly refuse. Don't judge me as rude or take me as a party prude. Some parties are just not my kind of groove. The chance to reminisce about all I missed don't fill me with cause for bliss, nor do I ponder at length all that could have been, not my idea of a fondue. I have had my fill of self-induced suffering, entertaining my mind with all that's remiss. From this there is one sure guarantee. I'll live gloomier than when I went in. I'll gladly pass on that level of self-brutality, politely saying thank you while giving this one a miss. I happily settle for some peace. No FOMO from me. Been there, done that. The excitement's long gone. I'm good where I'm stood, living life with joy infused.
This is a long poem.
It is slightly longer than some of my other ones, yes.
Many invitations. I suppose many invitations could be invitations to join in, do different things,
Mm,
or go different places where you have to show up in a particular way. Or when you show up, you can be, sorry, that's my daughter.
okay,
Let me just send her a message. You can,
right, go on.
yes, I'm not sure where what you're getting at in this one,
Okay.
but what this reminds me of when I think about myself is sometimes I get invitations to go to lots of places
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going to have to mix with all sorts of people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you know what, I think to myself, I can't face them. I can't face it. I don't feel like chatting and socializing and just chatting for the sake of chatting or talking to people about my business and all that.
Mm.
I'm quite happy to stay at home and relax, read my book. I'm not missing nothing. I've done that. I've done the going out. I've worn the t-shirt. I know what it's like to go out and sometimes you're just there and you're playing false.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
That's the kind of things that's coming up for me, but I don't think that's what this is getting at.
Um, don't be quick to shoot it down like that. Don't forget the point of poetry is to use it uses comparisons, allegory, metaphors, things like that. So the field in which the metaphor comes is what you're alluding to, right?
Mm,
I'm trying to jump off from that to something internal. But there's nothing invalid about what you just said because that is the idea. That is it all invitations that you need to accept.
yeah.
Right. That's the point. And who gets to decide which
Mm,
invitations you accept? And how do
yeah.
you decide which ones to accept? So you've just demonstrated all of those by what you've just said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the concept that the fact that there's an invitation is not a mandate for you to attend. An invitation is an opportunity for you to attend, that you still get the power of your own personal sovereignty to say, actually, having considered all the pros and cons, I'm going to choose either to accept the invitation or not. That's why there's an RSVP in invitations. So you
Hmm.
can say, yeah, I'm coming. No, actually, I'm not. And again, how do you feel after you've done that? Do you then feel guilty and say, oh, maybe I should have gone, da 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 da? Which again, it creates its own bandwidth hugging and mental traffic, right?
Yeah.
So so thank you for at least grounding us in that side of the reality. And then we take that reality in and go, what if your mind is the one issuing the invitations? What does that open for you now when you hear that?
Oh, well, that's a bit different if it's your mind.
Well, you can read. Do you want me to read it again now that I've told you that?
Yeah.
Many invitations I bluntly refuse. Don't judge me as rude or take me as a party prude. Some parties are just not my kind of groove. The chance to reminisce about all I missed. Don't fill me with cause for bliss. Nor do I ponder at length all that could have been, not my idea of a fondue. I've had my fill of self-induced suffering, entertaining my mind with all that's remiss. From this there is one sure guarantee. I'll live gloomier than when I went in. I'll gladly pass on that level of self-brutality, politely saying thank you while giving this one a miss. I'll happily settle for some peace. No FOMO from me, been there, done that. The excitement's long gone. I'm good where I'm stood, living life with joy infused.
This reminded me, right? This reminds me of when I was doing some mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
practice,
Same
and
here.
when and you we had to sit on the bank of the river, and what came down the river was everything that was flowing through the mind, through your thoughts and everything. And with mindfulness, you stay on the bank. You don't jump into the river and engage with any of the thoughts. So this reminds me of all the thoughts that's coming through, past, hurtful ones, whatever, all different thoughts. But when you engage with each one that you engage with will take you down a different path, leading to a different feeling, a different experience. But the choice is that I don't have to engage in any of it. So the mind offering the invitations could be the mind offering all the different thoughts that's coming through my mind. And I have a choice whether to engage with those thoughts that are coming through my mind. I have the opportunity to decide, are these thoughts real? Are they true? Do I have to believe? And I have to decide where these invitations coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. So you pretty much hit the point that your mind offers you many invitations to go down different routes. And so some are reminiscing, some are like projecting into the future, um, all sorts of things. You know, it could have been, it should have been, coulda, woulda, shoulda, all sorts of different avenues and things that, in retrospect, some of them are not helpful. I'm not saying everything your mind comes up with is not helpful. Sometimes it is, right? But I'm just saying it's having the sense of awareness to notice
Yeah.
and then being able to say, is this going to be helpful? Entertaining this, accepting this invitation to go down this road, accepting this invitation to be go around loops of thought that just add nothing to your experience of life.
Because it's almost like because we don't control what comes through your mind. Things can just pop into your mind, and you just wonder, where on earth did that come from? What triggered that?
Yeah.
So, and it's not everything that pops into your mind is good or is of any use to you, really. So you have to at some, if you're not aware of that, you can spend your time chasing your mind, and once you engage in the mind, then comes all the other things, the feelings and all the other things join in, and that's how the mind impacts on your experience, your how you experience life.
Yeah, we can drop the mic right there, Claudette. We can drop the mic right there. That's so well put. So well put. Yeah. You don't control it. And this is one of the challenges I face when I introduce people to these concepts, because the mind takes you down the route of it. Now you have to fight the thought. Now you have to control the thought. Now you have to make sure that kind of thought doesn't come. And all
Yeah,
it does really is creating more of what you're trying to get away from, which is the traffic and the bandwidth and the caught in vortexes of emotions that are not helpful or really doing much. Um,
and then okay, because what you focus on, you get more of, huh?
well, this is the other part. This is the other part of that. So it's kind of understanding, oh, this is just an invitation and I'm assessing this invitation. Do I want to go down that route? No, then I'll let it pass. I'll let it go. Like I say, like the
Yeah,
river metaphor. Let it flow. Let it go. Don't jump on it. Don't judge it as good or bad. Just observe it. Notice. And I
yeah,
have a hard time kind of getting people just to be in the noticing part, because people just want to fix stuff. And what people don't realize is the same mind who's creating the problem that's offering to fix it. What if there's nothing to fix but to observe and notice and just
yeah.
decide what's helpful and what's not helpful? Um,
Mm.
so that's anything else on this before we move on?
I think that's it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting, self-induced suffering, because that was one of the things that came up with when I did the mindfulness course. Is how much some of the suffering that we were experiencing was caused by our own. We were the ones who were inflicting it upon ourselves,
Mm,
um, by going down the road with certain thoughts, and certain thoughts produced suffering, feelings of suffering.
mm.
Yet we'll experience those feelings of suffering and keep repeating the same thing. So we were in like a loop of going around, suffering, 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 and wondering why we couldn't get out. And then you become it's like, why me?
Yeah. No, I hear that. And that's why that's the power of awareness. That's the power of noticing.
Yeah,
Right? And that's why the learning about that and these kind of conversations we're having is to help people create that space, become that witness on the riverbank, observing the thoughts go by and really coming to understand the nature of it and recognizing the value of not engaging with everything that comes through, really. Um, yeah. Okay. I'm going to read the next one. This one is called No Ordinary. Ordinary. Please define it for me, I asked the Oxford Dictionary. With no special or distinctive features. That's what came back to me. Hope you see what's confusing me. No two persons exactly the same. Left me scratching my head how anyone gets called ordinary. Love, in all its wisdom, already knows what we've been missing. Asks not for you to be extraordinary, because that's exactly who you already are. Can read that again. No ordinary. Ordinary. Please define it for me. I asked the Oxford Dictionary. With no special or distinctive features. That's what came back to me. Hope you see what's confusing me. No two persons exactly the same. Left me scratching my head how anyone gets called ordinary. Love, in all its wisdom, already knows what we've been missing. Asks not for you to be extraordinary, because that's exactly who you already are.
I tell you, the word that screams out to me is identity.
Okay, say more.
I don't know. That's. I'm just saying this is tied up with identity. How you see yourself and how others see you.
Hmm,
But sometimes you you place more value on what people say you are, who and what they say you are, than you do your own self.
hmm, yeah, I hear that.
But there's also an element of everybody's better than me.
I'm hearing that. Yeah, say more.
That bit where it says, you know, it's almost like everyone's extraordinary. They're better than me at this. They're better looking, better this, better that, better whatever. And you sort of like don't recognize that no, they're not. You're just as good or even better. Everyone's just different and accept the difference. Doesn't make anybody better than you. It doesn't make anybody else, it's all tied up with identity.
Yeah, that's lovely what you're saying there. And in fact, some of the expansion of what you're saying there comes from the next piece we're going to read. So I'm kind of torn between whether I should go into it now or wait till we read that bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to yeah, everything you shared there is brilliant. And in some ways it goes back to false prophecy, how we give more weight to what we believe other people want from us than what we think about ourselves. There's an element of that in there. But I also hear
Yeah.
this idea of minimizing ourselves while exalting other people. Um, yeah. And there's also something else in what you said there about difference that we can tend to hold highly differences that are between other people and us, and we value more how they're different from us than the other way around. But the interesting thing is difference is equidistant. I'm going to say that again. Difference is equidistant, which means that you are as different to someone as they are to you. There's no elevated ground from which to measure this difference. Difference is difference. It's like the equivalent of someone saying to you, I don't come to your house because your house is too far. Right? The distance
Yeah.
between our houses is the same. So if I can come to you, then I've proved that it's not too far because I'm able to come to you. So therefore, you can come to my house. The distance between our houses is the same.
Yeah.
Your house is not superior in its distance from mine. It's the same distance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's
So
the
if,
word?
yeah, go on.
What's the difference is
Equidistant. Equidistant. In other words, it's equally distant. Both houses are equally distant from each other in that analogy I've just given you.
like
Difference.
how do you spell equi
Equi.
difference?
Equi is
Q
EQUI,
U I
then distant, as in distant
distances.
location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Equidistant.
Okay. That's a new word I've learned. New meaning. Now I'm gonna see how many ways I can use that word now. That would be my no. Today I'm going to reuse it. That would be on my mind. On
You're
how
most
am I going to use this word now?
you're most welcome. So what I'm going to
Mm,
do is I'll kind of lean into this a bit and just tease out what I think's there because I think the points you're making really will come through by the time we read the next piece. But this one here where it says ordinary, and it speaks to what you're saying in a certain way in that we see ourselves as ordinary and everybody else as extraordinary, right? But
yeah,
nobody really is ordinary because that's a false measure or descriptor for a human being. In the same way that comparing
yeah,
human beings is pointless, it's the same way in which calling one person ordinary is pointless. Because nobody is ordinary in the strictest sense of the word, because they're unique in their own way to everybody else. They are unique. We are all unique. And which is why comparison is kind of not helpful because the features and contexts and,
hmm
and, and things in which we will need to consider to make anything effective out of that is just too much. It doesn't work.
yeah,
So it's really invitation for each of us to welcome ourselves as extraordinary.
yeah,
We are unique in our own way and to embrace what makes us unique. That kind of is the invitation. Anything else comes up for you based on what I've just said?
I think that's it, Empress.
Yeah, and the line I'd really want to look at is love in all its wisdom. So because we're talking of relationship here, right? So it's that idea when someone thinks in a relationship they're superior to the other person, or someone themselves are the one deferring themselves down compared to the other person in the relationship.
Hmm
So it's like love accepts you as the unique individual that you are.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let me put this next one in. This one is called kindness for me.
Mm,
For you. This one is for you. I want it for you. Makes me feel good to give it to you. For me. Why give it to me? I don't deserve it. My story too real to give it to me. Kindness for me. No matter if you give, a struggle to receive. Until I give to me, treating me no less than you. I'm going to read that again. For you. This one is for you. I want it for you. Makes me feel good to give it to you. For me? Why give it to me? I don't deserve it. My story too real to give it to me. Kindness for me? No matter if you give, a struggle to receive. Until I give to me, treating me no less than you.
that's a lovely poem.
Mm,
When I did the mindfulness course, we did a whole session on kindness
mm,
and because kindness to self, kindness to others,
mm,
but also receiving kindness. And everybody in the group, including myself, we all we all had an issue about being kind to ourselves. We were so quick to be kind to others.
mm,
We didn't even think about the fact that we need kindness. We need to be kind to ourselves. And when others were kind to us, we viewed it as what? We viewed their intention with suspicion. So it was really good when we did. So we've done a lot of work around kindness and deserving kindness. And you
Mm,
don't have to work for it. You deserve it because you're a human being. You just deserve it.
yeah.
God says you did. God says you deserve it.
Mm,
So if God says you deserve it, you deserve it.
oh, I hear that. Yeah. Yeah. That's that. Thanks for sharing that.
Because sometimes sometimes we are very quick. I used to be very guilty of that. Especially when it comes to well, they're not children now, they're my two young people and all that. I'd give, I'd really just go out of my way to make sure they were okay, even if it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, or as a result, I would be a bit. I'd make sure I was always giving to them. Yet when they wanted to give to me, I felt uncomfortable.
Mm,
Not so much now, but you know,
yeah.
there was a time that was a time that's how I used to. I do get sometimes when friends are very kind to me. I don't think, oh, why are they being kind? But I'm more aware of when other people are just being kind for no reason. They don't want anything from me. They're just being kind,
Yeah.
just being loving, really. What it is, they're just showing love. Because I think the other side of kindness is love, isn't it?
Yeah. Love is kind, right?
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, I love what you're sharing there. That just puts it in a practical sense and people can see how that applies. But again, can you see where awareness is such a powerful tool? If
very much so.
I'm aware, then you begin to ask, okay, well, how's that? How I'm happy to be kind to other people. When it comes to me, no. And I've given a clue in there. I don't know if you can spot where the clue is as to why that might tend to be the case.
I tell you the best lines I like until I give it to me,
Hmm.
treating me no less than you.
The-
I think that is
yeah.
that is very powerful.
Yeah. And do you see how that links to what we've just read about ordinary, calling someone else extraordinary and calling yourself
Yeah,
ordinary?
yeah,
And that means that you justifies your ability to give to them their extraordinary. You don't deserve anything because you're just ordinary.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
one framing of it. Um,
You know, why give to me? I don't deserve it. So and then you got those who don't think comes down to self-worth and value,
right.
self-love. What has been our experiences of self-love from when we were young, girl,
Yeah.
and we bring that experience or that perception of self-love into our adult relationships.
Yeah. You are sharing some serious and deep wisdom there, my dear.
Yeah, so yeah,
And here's another line that's of interest. You kind of were reading and then you stopped. It's my story too real to give it to me. That is a pivotal aspect of what most people don't realize is going on. So
yeah,
let me break it down for you a bit. So we are intimate with our own failings. We are intimate with what we've done, the things that we think makes us less than. We are intimately aware of our limitations, so to say. So that intimate knowledge we have of ourselves, which unfortunately tends to bias towards the things we've done wrong or the things that are suboptimal, help entrench the idea that we are less than. But here's the other part of the equation, because we don't have that deep information about other people, we see them from afar, we project sainthood on them. And so when we hold those two, the projection that's from a distance and the intimate knowledge of ourselves, which is biased towards the things we're not so great at and things we're not doing so great, you can see how we begin to arrive at a subconscious notion that we are worth less or deserve less than other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a very deep poem, this one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all deep, but this is a very deep poem because this is really tied up in, this is a lot of internal stuff going on here.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I hear that.
Mm.
And in a way,
But,
this is
you
one of
know,
the key elements.
yeah, there was a time, right, where I would, like if I had a friend who was down or whatever, I'll say, "Come on, let me take you for coffee. Come on," and I'd go out of my way, find the money, take my friend for coffee, sit and enjoy the coffee with her and everything, and then and I'll do all those kinds of things for people with people. And it never occurred to me until about a year ago, Claudia, why don't you take yourself out for coffee? All right. So the day when I actually it came into my mind to take myself, the day when I asked that morning, I remember the morning when I asked myself that question, what, because I didn't know what I was going to do that day. And it just came into my head, why don't you take yourself out for coffee? And it really stopped me in my tracks that morning. And I sat down and I said to myself, why not? There's a new coffee shop down the road and everything. I can go there, I can take my book and just go and sit down and watch the world pass by and drink my coffee. I deserve it. And I got dressed up. I dressed up and I went down the road. And you know what? I had coffee with tea cakes and butter and marmalade. And I sat on the table nearest to the window and I could see everything going by, people rushing, people strolling. I was able to observe and just be present with what was going on. It was just one of the most, I was there for about 3 hours without even realizing it was 3 hours.
Amazing. Amazing. I love
But
that.
but it was just so, and then come back home feeling, wow, that was such a good experience.
No, I hear that. That's beautiful.
So I
And that,
built
yeah, go on.
that's built into my weekly routine that
Hmm.
every week,
Hmm.
if I don't make it every week, no 2 weeks must go past
Hmm.
where I don't take myself for coffee.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. And every time you do it, you're reinforcing that whole notion of I matter. And,
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, why not?
yeah.
If any, there's something I share with my clients, which it's an imagery called shared humanity, and is this thing, and I'm going to say this, and I hope I'm not being controversial here, but I think women more than any struggle more with this because they're predisposed to care for other people.
That is true. I agree with that.
And so it's a harder journey for them to come to a point where it's going, ah, yeah, but me, I matter. I can look after me. I can care about me. I can focus on me. Because ultimately, sometimes your identity just gets tied into what you do for other people.
Yeah,
It can be a struggle, actually, to see that you as a human being, male or female, need to be able to honor who you are. Um, and there was this thing I was going to say about this idea about shared humanity that I show my clients when, when people are burning themselves up to help other people. So this imagery that I got from one of the best reality shows I've ever watched. I don't like reality shows, but this particular one was actually hosted by someone who is a proper therapist. So they came up with some beautiful things. And one of the things they came up with is this idea that would people who love you want you to set yourself alight just so they could keep warm? I want you to think about that imagery. Would
mm,
people who love you want you to set yourself alight just so they can keep warm? And it's that idea that people who really love you don't want to receive your love at the expense of your own well-being. Because if they care for you as well, then they will care that the love you provide should not be at the expense of your own well-being. Does that make
yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Would someone who loved me want me to set myself alight? Yeah, to keep them warm. Interesting.
It is indeed. I'm going to read the final piece, and it's called Authenticity. Short one. You do you, how you do. Let the doing speak for you. That you can do. What needs doing, doing it how you do, with energy to spare, from not doing how they do, rehashing a poor copy of you. So I'm going to read that again, authenticity. You do you, how you do. Let the doing speak for you. That you can do. What needs doing? Doing it how you do, with energy to spare, from not doing how they do, rehashing a poor copy of you.
It's just be yourself.
Mm,
Be yourself, be who you are. Just be real. Because when you try, you spend, some people spend, what have you got to hide from? I always say.
mm,
But to me, this is about just be yourself. Do things the way you want to do it, the way you do it.
mm,
Value the way you are and the way you do things.
mm,
And don't worry about how other people show up,
mm.
basically.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And really, it all ties with that whole idea of accepting who you are, knowing that you're as extraordinary as anybody else,
Yeah.
knowing that you deserve kindness and to be honored as a unique individual in the world. And out of that energy, recognizing that if there's a certain way that you show up and there's certain things in how you operate, that's maybe the uniqueness you've been asked to bring to the world, and honoring that rather than try to copy someone else because that's what someone else is doing. Because again, when you try and copy someone, there's a lot of energy being used up in trying to be what you're not and then masking who you actually are. So there's a lot of energy being consumed there, which could be released in order for you to bring the unique essence of who you are to the world.
Yeah.
So it's a celebration of self, really. And that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to pull out from today's session is that
Yeah.
actually we look at the love framework, that we have the idea of the L, which is looking for love somewhere else rather than owning the fact that you need to provide that love for yourself. So this is what this piece is really leaning into. Because if you have this foundation where you're now owning and celebrating yourself, owning your extraordinarity, your uniqueness, you're giving kindness to yourself, that provides a better relationship where the energies are being freed up, where you can hold space for someone else. But when you kind of deny yourself and you're trying to kind of get those needs met by someone else, you begin
House. Yes.
or other people, you begin to sap on other people, you begin to come into a relationship with an energy that really doesn't serve the other person, to be honest. So that's kind of the idea there. Oh well, time has flown, Claudette.
Mm,
I must say this has been a very, I think we've been able to go a bit deeper
yeah.
today. And I think that that would really be of value to the people listening, the kind of explorations and unpacking we've been able to do of
Yeah.
this. And I certainly hope that people get to see things that helps them transform their own relationships, really, from what
Yeah.
we've. Thank you so much. What's the biggest thing you're taking away from today?
The importance of accepting and loving self.
Oh, I love that. And for me, I'm taking away from today that you can have a beautiful relationship with just two people on the call.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have
Bye.
a good week ahead. All
You
right.
too. Bye.
Weekend coming up.